name's Erin Mendoza. I'm an early literacy specialist at the Kenosha Public Library, and we are celebrating National Nutrition Month, which is the entire month of March. We are lucky enough to be joined by some friends at UW-Madison, the FoodWIse program, and they're going to be teaching us how to make a delicious apple salad today. That's going to be very easy and just perfect for families on the go. So I'll introduce our partner here, or let her introduce herself.
Hello everyone, my name is Ness, and like Erin said, I'm from UW-Madison Division of Extension FoodWIse program in Racine and Kenosha counties, and we're honored to be here today to celebrate the National Nutrition Month together.
All right, so what do we start with?
So this apple salad is great. Not that it's easy to make, it is budget friendly. It is packed with nutrients, and best of all, it is delicious. I make this very often, and my kids love it.
Yeah.
The longer it stays in the refrigerator, the better it tastes.
Yeah, just soaking up all those flavors.
All the flavors, and you can dress this up however you want. You can add curry, you can add cinnamon, you can add sumac, you can add chicken, make it a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Or you can get a whole wheat tortilla wrap. Put everything in a tortilla wrap it, you have the lunch.
Fancy.
If you want it as a salad, as a snack, you have a snack.
Yeah.
If you want breakfast, you can add some granolas, and my favorite is to add some walnuts.
Yes.
And cinnamon. That's my breakfast.
Yeah, perfect.
So you have all the food groups. We have 5 food groups. You can add all food groups in this salad. And you can either
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I was excited because I know one of my children is kind of a pickier eater, and so when I saw the recipe, apples are crunchy and they're kind of like a kid favorite, which is nice. So it seemed like a safe food. So I think that would be good for a lot of different kinds of families and children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the beauty of when you're making salads like this, if you don't like celery, you can substitute with something different, you know. But because kids are picky eaters, when you're making the salad, you're basically hiding the flavors of those things that they don't like.
Yep.
Because you're adding vanilla yogurt, you can sprinkle some cinnamon.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even know that it's there.
That's the aim. Okay.
And
good.
what I find helpful is I personally like to chop things finer, smaller.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they are chopped smaller, they might not even notice
it. Yeah, right. Yeah, because you're right. A lot of times when children are a little more sensitive, they notice those big chunks, and that can be a turnoff. So, and I know you're going to go over some chopping skills too, so that'll be helpful for families.
Another hint or another substitution you could do, this recipe calls for raisins. I personally love fresh grapes, but if you have raisins at home, use the raisins. If you have fresh grapes, that's even better.
Yeah.
So, should we get started?
Sure, perfect.
Let's get started. All right, so we have apples, and we picked 2 different colors. When we teach little kids, we encourage to eat the rainbow.
Yes.
Because each color provides different nutrients for our body. So, apples packed with vitamin C, which boosts our immune system. Then we have carrots, orange carrot, which is packed with vitamin A. It's great for our eyesight.
Yeah.
Lemon, of course, vitamin C. And celery, packed with vitamin K, which helps with blood clotting. All these were prior washed.
Yep.
Our hands are washed.
Yep.
We cleaned and sanitized the area because that is very important step for food safety.
Right. We figured they didn't want to watch us do all that.
Of course, we did it before. And the raisins, of course. We have vanilla yogurt. Like I said, you can sprinkle some cinnamon or anything else that is your favorite. All right, let's get started and chopping.
Nice. Okay. Before we go any further, I just wanted to let you know that we also will have this recipe card at the end of the video, so don't feel like you have to scramble to write down everything. We will provide that at the end too.
All right, let's get chopping and start our amazing, delicious recipe. Here I have yellow or green apple. Make sure to cut it in half. And the way you hold the knife is pinch, grip. So pinch, grip, and you go on a rocking motion like this. make sure the tip of the knife stays in the cutting board like this. And with the other hand, you're gonna round it, and we call this a bear claw position. The tip of your fingers are gonna be tucked in. So the knuckles are gonna serve as a guide. I'm gonna demonstrate it right here. So you're not gonna go like this, but like this. And this part here is gonna be the guide. So this is how you go. So here we have half an apple. Let's remove the core. Make sure you always point the knife against you, always. And the reason we cut this apple in half is because we want to have a flat surface. Majority of fruits and vegetables come in a round shape, so we want to have a flat surface for safety. So now we are going to cut thin strips with the same position, like I said, pinch grip and round thin strips. Okay, here's our apple. Now we go on the opposite side and make little chunks. Everyone prefers different size. So some people like bigger chunks, some like smaller. I think these are pretty good. All right, moving on to the red apple. Again, pinch grip. Let's cut this in half and create that flat surface. This is nice and juicy red apple. Okay. And we have a garbage bowl here next to us. All right, this apple's core is a little bigger, so I'm gonna cut it in a quarter. So let's do this. All right. What do you think, Erin?
Looks delicious, honestly.
All right, okay. So again, we have the flat surface here. Let's try to make some thin strips. You get the crunch from the apples, and especially when we do the celery too. It is going to be very crunchy. All right.
I know my youngest really likes helping us cook, and we have some child-friendly scissors too, and apples are kind of nice for him to be able to help with because they're, kind of sturdy. And
yes. And I'm glad you have those scissors, or they have child knives that they could use.
That's what I meant.
Okay. There you go. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that's how it is. We have to put some lemon juice so these apples don't turn brown. The acidity from lemon juice will protect them. So that's the next step. And what is important with knife skills, it's not the speed you do it, it's the technique. This technique with pinch grip is important, but you don't have to go fast, because if you're watching those food shows and you see those chefs chopping fast, hey, you don't have to be like that. It takes time to master that. The important part is the technique, not the speed.
It's a good reminder.
Yes.
Look at that.
And you can buy whatever apples are your favorite. There are so many apple options. Okay, now we're gonna chop our celery. I personally prefer to make smaller chunks of celery because some kids might not be a big fan of it. So the smaller they are, like I said earlier, the better it is for some people. But if you prefer bigger chunks, that's no problem. All right, so here we go.
Celery really provides that good crunch that kids like
It
too.
does, yes, and absolutely adds so much flavor to the recipe.
I know my son really likes to help me cook, and we have a child-friendly knife that he likes to use, so celery and apples seem like the perfect thing to be able to help with.
That's wonderful, yes. we encourage families to have their kids in the kitchen when they're making recipes, so they can participate. Sometimes kids, when they participate in a cooking process, they're more likely to eat what they're making. All right, now we're gonna squeeze the lemon to
All right.
prevent the apples from browning.
Yes, okay.
And one thing I wanna mention, the recipe calls for 1 apple, but we purposely bought 2 because of the colors. We wanted to have some more color, like 1 red, 1 green.
Yeah.
Because also they provide different flavors. The red apple is sweeter, like I am in red. And the green apple is a little more tart, so we're mixing the flavors. Some people prefer more tart, so this way we're giving all options.
Right, like you said, that's what's really nice about this recipe is you can, doesn't have to be exactly like it says, you have some freedom.
Correct, yes. And I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon. I'm gonna use my other hand, which is clean, and I have gloves to just
Catch
hold
any
on to
seeds.
those seeds.
Yeah,
Perfect.
very pretty. The other nice thing about having apples is they're accessible really year-round.
Yeah.
There's some other great salads with fruits, but sometimes it can be a little tricky to get your hands on raspberries or blueberries, but it never seems to be an issue finding apples.
Yes, and reasonably priced.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
throughout the year. Now it's time to shred our carrot. Carrots have been washed and cleaned. I'm gonna cut the bottom and the top, and we're gonna shred. You can choose to shred on the bigger side or on a smaller side, and I'm a fan of small side.
This
What
one's
about
nice
you?
too. Well, honestly, these have always intimidated me, but I like that this one you can put down so you're not trying to hold it while you're shredding. This keeps it
Yes.
really steady, so I might
Yes.
have to invest in something like that.
You know, kitchen utensils are a good investment.
Yes.
If they make your job easier,
Yep.
it's always worth
Yeah.
to pay a higher price. All right, so
Yep.
let's get shredding. Okay. There you go. Wow, this looks beautiful. Let's measure. So about half a cup, I think. Wow, perfect measurement. There you go, half a cup. We're gonna add that straight here. And we pre-measured half a cup of raisins. I believe I shared earlier, I prefer fresh grapes. If you don't have fresh grapes, you can use raisins.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids like fresh grapes. Make
Yeah.
sure you cut the grapes in half though.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's a very important tip for if you have younger kids in
Yeah.
your house.
Perfect.
Awesome. So here we go. Come on,
Get in
raisins.
there. Get in
Come on,
there.
raisins. They don't want to go. Okay, let's stir before we add the yogurt. Look at all these beautiful colors. A rainbow. This is what is called a rainbow. And all we're left is to add the yogurt. So now we're only left with the final step.
So easy. All right, and what's that final step?
The final step is vanilla yogurt.
Ooh.
Yes.
So what kind of yogurt are you using?
We're using a low-fat vanilla yogurt.
Okay.
It gives so much flavor,
Yes.
but you can use plain Greek yogurt if you prefer to.
Okay.
You have a variety of choices.
Nice.
You can choose a different fat.
Right. Low fat, no
low
fat. And what about someone who
1%,
might?
Low fat or no fat.
What about someone who might not be able to eat dairy? Are there?
Sure, yes, people that have lactose intolerance, there are lots of alternatives nowadays. Just like milk, you can find different kinds of yogurt.
Okay.
You can find almond yogurt, coconut yogurt, soy yogurt, so
Perfect.
you have lots of options.
Okay, great.
Because we added an extra apple, so we kind of increased the volume of the recipe. This is what the recipe calls half a cup of yogurt. Let's see how half a cup works. If not, we can add. That's the beauty of it.
It's like an experiment.
Right.
Yep.
When you're making something like this, you know,
Right.
you don't have to really stick to the
Eyeball
recipe.
it.
Sometimes the idea just of having the ingredients and then adding your own stuff is what makes the recipe perfect. So I definitely will add another serving of a yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go.
It smells really good too.
Yes. If you're using plain yogurt, you can add vanilla,
Okay,
because plain yogurt obviously won't be
Won't have
flavored.
that, yeah.
Yes, so.
perfect.
So, in order to know if you're getting high-fat yogurts, you can always look at the nutrition facts label.
Yeah.
The percentages, daily value, they will tell you if it's 5%, it's considered low, the fat
Yes.
or the sugar. If it's 20 or higher, it's considered high.
Okay.
So that's how you know if you're getting a low-fat yogurt.
Good to
or
know.
low sugar. All
Love it.
right, so let's have you try it. And look at the beautiful color of carrots. That's
You're so positive.
Oh.
All right.
good for your eyesight.
So this is why I signed up for this. This is the good
Awesome.
part.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right. I have to get a little bit of everything.
And like I said earlier, the longer it stays in the refrigerator, the tastier it
Yeah.
is.
I want to get celery too. So you have to have the sound up so you can hear the crunch. That's really good. And I can see this being like a family favorite. Really good choice for different ages. And yeah, I can imagine it with some of those other add-ons, a cinnamon or curry or
If
all
you want
those
to
things.
sprinkle some cinnamon.
Maybe I will try. Although it's sweet enough without it.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need it, but
Yeah.
we'll try it out.
So like I said, you can use it like a breakfast. If you add some oats, some grains, you can add some grains to it, like maybe some granola.
Yeah.
You can sprinkle cinnamon, you can add some nuts for protein, so you'll have a full breakfast, full meal.
That's really good. Nice. Awesome. So if families enjoyed making this and they're interested in learning more about other things they can cook for their meal, does FoodWIse offer programming or classes for families?
Absolutely. FoodWIse offers a variety of programming from early childhood all the way to senior citizens.
Wow.
What we are focusing right now is focusing on parents, and we have a special class for parents, Eating Smart, Being Active, where we demonstrate easy, budget-friendly recipes,
Yeah.
as well as we cover nutrition topics.
Great.
So parents will learn some basic cooking skills, they will learn some tips, and we enjoy bonding and getting together. It's just
Yeah.
a blessing.
Yeah, that's a nice experience. So if parents are interested in signing up, what do they do and what does it cost?
Well, these classes are free for parents that qualify,
Wow.
and in order to qualify, they need to have children in their living in the household with them, 18 and under.
Okay.
They need to be receiving some type of government assistance,
Okay.
maybe food share, free and reduced school lunches, WIC benefits.
Okay.
And we're gonna provide the QR link that they can just click on it
Great.
and sign up, and we can reach out to them and
Very
in
easy.
detail explain the qualification process.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Yeah. So besides providing the recipe, we'll also have the QR link. And that way you guys can just pause it, write down all this information, and then sign up hopefully and get some more recipes under your belt to make at home. It seems like a very natural partnership to be able to work with each other, because I know for the month of March, we'll be providing lots of book ideas for families to use, and other ways to celebrate and get excited about healthy eating and healthy lifestyle choices.
Absolutely.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for giving us
Yes.
this opportunity.
Thank you.
I
It was
had
a
a
lot
great
of fun.
time.
Yes, you're a natural and I
Oh,
loved
thank
it.
you.
I'll be making
Thank
this
you.
again.
All right, so if you enjoyed this presentation, we encourage you to sign up for our classes, parenting classes, Eating Smart and Being Active. And upon successful completion of the class, you will be receiving all these goodies. We have a cookbook, cutting board, a brush, and lots of other stuff that will come handy to the kitchen. Again, thank you so much for watching. And if you need more resources, please click on the link below, which it will direct you to our website. And feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.